Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Patmos again, and I've got another wild video for you. So let me set the stage on this one. So last weekend, I was at the car wash with my wife, and I was waiting. And while I was waiting, I struck up a conversation with the guy with a pickup truck behind me, and seemed like a reasonable guy. So we just chit chatted a little bit. It took about a minute or two before it became apparent to me that this guy was a MAGA nut. And he's telling me these things that were just mind blowing. He's saying, Trump is putting the troops into the cities because we're getting ready. Trump is getting ready to fight an all out war with Antifa, that the Antifa troops are being amassed in 115 cities around the United States. And as soon as Antifa drops the orders, there's going to be all hell breaking loose, and 115 cities are going to be on fire. And so that's why Trump is deploying all these troops. And I just was speechless. I kind of like shook my head, and it was hard to believe what I was hearing. The guy seemed like he was intact psychiatrically, but he clearly had this elaborate notion of 115 cities about to be engulfed in horrible violence because of Antifa. And he said something about November 4th. This is all coming down on November 4th when Antifa gives the orders. Well, I was very happy to be able to get my car, leave the car wash, and leave the guy behind. But it got me thinking a little bit of what is the truth about Antifa. So I did a little research on it today, and here's what I found out. So it turns out Jim Stewartson, it's linked below in the text, wrote a really nice piece about an apparent, basically a big conference that they had at the White House recently, where Stephen Miller brought in all these people to talk about how Antifa is this paramilitary organization, highly financed, integrated, and with a defined leadership structure. And they're a terrorist organization like Al Qaeda and all that. And they had this dog and pony show at the White House for an audience of one. One person was the audience. You want to guess who that was? Donald Trump. So Stephen Miller brings in all these people to talk about this imaginary, uh, terrorist organization, and to give Trump what he wanted, which is a reason to justify invading the country and putting troops in cities. I think he found out the hard way that putting the Marines in Los Angeles to beat up people who pick strawberries and clean toilets, that didn't go over too well. It got a lot of negative press. And then when he tried to, have Black Hawk helicopters, appear in Chicago in the middle of the night with soldiers rappelling down into an apartment complex to zip tie children in their pajamas. That didn't get too good. That didn't seem really quite good enough. He needs an enemy combatant. He's got to have somebody really substantial. He can go to war with to justify putting troops into all these cities. A Tren de Aragua sounds good, but I don't think they found any in the apartment building in Chicago. All they found were kids with like bunny shoe PJs on, and they zip tied them, and it just didn't look too good. Just they call it the optics on that. Just or zip tied children is just not good optics. You know what I mean? So enter Antifa. Now he's got an enemy combatant. We've got this organization that's well funded and structured and hierarchical with 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 an organization, and I'm looking for their corporate office so I can figure out where it is. Anyhow, this is the kind of nonsense that people believe. So I summarized what we do know about Antifa below in the text, and I did link the article from Jim Stewart. It's really worth reading to see how insane these people are. But the bottom line is Antifa is not a organization. It is a philosophy that's been around since Hitler and Mussolini. And people who opposed Hitler and Mussolini in in the 1920s, there's still people around who don't like the idea of white supremacy and fascism and that sort of thing, and they act against it in various ways. And there are some folks who are provocative and have committed some violence, but nothing compared to right wing violence. And it's certainly not what Stephen Miller portrays Antifa to be, and what Trump is portraying Antifa to be, and what the social media disinformation machine portrays Antifa to be. So, bottom line is, when you go to the car wash, here's what you think about. Think about stuff like, do I want the lemon scent or the vanilla scent for the car? Don't talk to people about Antifa at car washes. Have a good evening.